The sun beat down mercilessly on Forward Operating Base Epsilon, a remote outpost nestled in the rugged mountains of an unnamed hostile territory. Lieutenant Sarah Reeves wiped sweat from her brow as she studied the tactical display one final time. At 28, she was younger than most in her position, but her reputation for quick thinking and unmatched marksmanship had earned her this mission, perhaps the most critical of her career. "Lieutenant, Colonel Collins is requesting your presence," announced the communications officer, not looking up from his station. Sarah nodded, gathering her notes before making her way to the command tent. Inside, Colonel Eileen Collins stood examining a three-dimensional holographic map, her weathered face illuminated by its blue glow. A decorated Air Force veteran who had transitioned to Special Operations oversight, Collins was known for her unflinching dedication and brilliant strategic mind. "Reeves, glad you're here." Collins gestured to the map. "Situation's deteriorated. The intelligence we need is still in the compound, along with 17 hostages, including 3 of our people." Sarah studied the holographic display showing a fortified compound built into the side of a mountain. "The main assault team?" "Delayed. Sandstorms grounded the 282 SEALs at the forward airbase. They're 12 hours out, minimum." Collins zoomed in on a small drainage tunnel. "That's why you're going in alone." Sarah felt her stomach tighten, but kept her expression neutral. Infiltration parameters. Minimal equipment. Your modified M110 sniper system, combat knife, communications gear, and enough supplies for 24 hours. Collins looked her directly in the eyes. "Your mission is to infiltrate, gather intelligence on enemy positions, and, if possible, secure the command center before the main force arrives." Sarah nodded, mentally calculating angles and approaches. "The hostages?" "Secondary objective. Intelligence confirms they're being held here, but our primary concern is the data center. We believe they're housing plans for coordinated attacks on 3 major U.S. cities." A communications officer interrupted, handing Collins a tablet. Her expression darkened as she read. "New intelligence. 2 high-value targets confirmed on site, Commanders Rashid and Volkov. Both are responsible for the massacre at Tarkhan Village last month. Both will be heavily guarded." Sarah had studied the Tarkhan incident. 43 civilians executed for refusing to provide supplies to insurgent forces. The thought made her blood run cold. "I understand, Colonel." "Insertion at 0200 hours. You'll have approximately 10 hours alone before the SEALs arrive." Collins handed her a small data drive. "Memorize this, then destroy it. Contains updated security protocols and recognition codes." As Sarah turned to leave, Collins added, "Lieutenant, this mission was specifically requested for you by Lieutenant General Wolfenberger herself. Your skills with that rifle are unmatched, but this will require more than marksmanship." "I won't let you down, ma'am." Outside the tent, Sarah found her spotter and closest friend, Sergeant Miguel Ortiz, waiting. "So," he asked, falling into step beside her. "Solo infiltration. Tonight." Ortiz stopped walking. "Solo? With 282 SEALs sitting on their hands? That's suicide, Sarah." She continued toward the armory. "Not if I do it right." As darkness fell over the base, Sarah methodically prepared her equipment, checking each item 3 times. The modified M110 sniper rifle, her constant companion through 4 deployments, had been stripped down to essential components for the infiltration. In her quarters, she studied satellite imagery of the compound, committing every detail to memory. The mission parameters were clear, but something felt off. Intelligence this critical, hostages this valuable, why weren't more resources being deployed immediately? As she finished her preparations, a communication came through on her secure tablet. "Eyes only. Be advised. Intelligence suggests possible high-level mole. Trust no one outside direct chain of command." Sarah took a deep breath. The mission had just become even more complicated. The drainage tunnel proved narrower than intelligence had indicated. Sarah inched forward on her elbows, the cold water seeping through her tactical gear as she pulled her equipment behind her in a waterproof bag. After 3 hours of painstaking progress, she reached the access grate. Using a specialized cutting tool, she created an opening just large enough to slip through. Inside the compound's lower level, Sarah moved like a shadow, avoiding the regular patrol pattern she'd memorized. The first sign something was wrong came when she encountered a guard post that wasn't on her schematics. She waited, watching the guard's movements before slipping past during the rotation. "Epsilon Actual, this is Longshot," she whispered into her secure comm. "Discrepancies in the intelligence package. Proceeding with caution." Only static answered. The mountain was interfering with her communications. She was truly alone. Sarah made her way to the server room, planting the data extraction device as planned. As the files transferred, she checked her watch. Still 7 hours before the seals would arrive. The download completed, and she secured the drive in her hidden pocket. Moving toward the hostage area, Sarah heard raised voices. She pressed against the wall, listening to 2 men arguing in a mixture of Russian and Arabic. Peering around the corner, she spotted them, Commanders Rashid and Volkov, the high-value targets Collins had mentioned. They were reviewing security footage on a tablet. Sarah's blood ran cold as she realized what they were watching. Footage of her own infiltration. Someone had tipped him off. Before she could retreat, an alarm blared throughout the facility. Sarah ducked into a supply closet as boots thundered past. Her mind raced. The mission was compromised, but she still had the intelligence. She needed to find a secure position and wait for extraction. As she formulated a new plan, the door burst open. A guard spotted her, but before he could shout, Sarah struck, silencing him with a precise blow. Too late. Another guard had seen the struggle and raised the alarm. Sarah ran, taking down 2 more guards with hand-to-hand combat techniques taught to her by Lieutenant Audie Murphy's grandson during Special Forces training. She found herself cornered in the command center, exactly where she needed to be, but under the worst possible circumstances. The door crashed open. Commanders Rashid and Volkov entered flanked by 4 elite guards. Sarah managed to neutralize 2 guards with lightning-fast strikes, but a third caught her with a stunning blow to the kidney. She dropped to one knee, her vision blurring. "The famous American ghost," Volkov said in accented English, circling her. "Not so ghostly now." Rashid grabbed her by the hair, forcing her head back. "Your team of SEALs will not arrive in time. The sandstorm was convenient." Sarah's mind raced. They knew about the delayed SEAL team. The mole was high level, possibly within Colonel Collins' own staff. "Kneel before me," Rashid commanded, forcing her down with a boot on her shoulder. "You Americans always believe you are invincible." Volkov laughed, moving closer. "Tell us who sent you. Who else knows about our operation?" Sarah's eyes darted around the room, noting the positions of the remaining guards, the weapons on the table, the security monitors showing the compound layout. Most importantly, she spotted the main communications array, her potential lifeline to warn the incoming SEALs. "I said, kneel!" Rashid shouted, pressing harder. Sarah appeared to comply, lowering herself further. The commanders moved closer, confident in their control of the situation. Volkov leaned down, his face inches from hers. "Last chance, American. Cooperate, and perhaps you die quickly." Sarah locked eyes with him, her expression shifting from defeat to deadly focus. In that moment, she recalled Colonel Collins' final words before the mission. "When cornered, remember your training with Lieutenant Murphy. Sometimes surrender is the perfect setup for victory." With both commanders now within striking distance, her hand moved toward her boot, where her combat knife waited. The intelligence was secure, but her mission had evolved. She needed to neutralize these commanders and warn the incoming SEALs about the trap awaiting them. As Rashid began to speak again, Sarah made her move.
In one fluid motion, Sarah drew the combat knife from her boot and struck with precision honed through thousands of training hours. She hit both commanders' legs simultaneously, severing Rashid's Achilles tendon and driving the blade deep into Volkov's knee. Their screams echoed through the command center as they collapsed. The remaining guards rushed forward, but Sarah was already moving. She rolled across the floor, grabbing Volkov's sidearm and firing 2 perfect shots. Both guards fell. Sarah secured the door, dragging the wounded commanders to chairs and binding them with zip ties. "The tables have turned, gentlemen," she said, accessing the communications array. "Now you'll tell me exactly who compromised my mission." Volkov spat blood. "Kill us if you want. Our forces will still eliminate your precious SEALs." Sarah ignored him, working quickly to establish a secure channel. "Epsilon Actual, this is Longshot. Authentication code Sierra Echo 94 Tango. Mission compromised. SEAL team heading into ambush. Repeat, mission compromised." Static crackled, then Colonel Collins' voice came through. "Longshot, confirm situation. I have secured the command center and neutralized HVTs. Intelligence package obtained, but someone leaked the SEAL insertion coordinates. They're flying into a trap." A moment of silence. "Understood. Rerouting SEAL team to alternate LZ. Can you hold position?" Sarah checked the security monitors. Enemy forces were gathering outside the command center door. "Affirmative, but not for long." She turned to the facility's internal communication system, accessing the PA system. Using Rashid's voice authorization code extracted under duress, she issued evacuation orders, claiming a gas leak in the lower levels. The confusion would buy her precious time. She accessed the security controls, releasing the locks on the hostage holding area. On the monitors, she watched as the confused prisoners realized their opportunity. She directed them through the PA system to a secondary exit she had identified during her infiltration. "Longshot, SEAL Team ETA 90 minutes to your position," Collins reported. "Extraction Plan Delta in effect." Sarah checked her ammunition and the barricaded door. "Copy that." For the next hour, she defended the command center against multiple breach attempts, using the facility's own security systems against the attackers. When they cut the power, she switched to night vision and continued fighting. The radio crackled again. "Longshot, this is Trident Actual. 282 Navy SEALs inbound to your position. Hold tight, Lieutenant." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Copy that, Trident. Welcome to the party." When the SEALs finally breached the compound, they found Sarah still holding the command center, surrounded by fallen enemies. The intelligence she had secured revealed not only the planned terrorist attacks, but exposed a network of double agents within Allied forces. 3 days later, at a secure military hospital, Lieutenant General Wolfenbarger personally visited Sarah's bedside. "Lieutenant Reeves, your actions saved not only the SEAL team, but potentially thousands of civilian lives." Wolfenbarger placed a small box on the bed. "This isn't official yet, but you've been recommended for the Distinguished Service Cross." Sarah shook her head. "The hostages got out safely?" "All 17, thanks to your quick thinking." Wolfenbarger studied her. "Colonel Collins told me about your suspicions regarding the intelligence leak." "Someone knew too much about our operation, ma'am." "You were right. We've identified and apprehended the mole, Major Harkins from Central Command. He's been working for Volkov for years." Sarah absorbed this information silently. Harkins had been her instructor at tactical school. "What happens now?" she asked, finally. "That depends on you, Lieutenant. Once you've recovered, there's a specialized joint task force being formed. Colonel Collins and I believe you'd be perfect for it." 2 months later, Sarah stood before a new team, a hand-picked group of operators from across the Special Forces community. As she addressed them, she carried the lessons of that mission in every word. What we do isn't about glory or recognition. Sometimes victory means standing alone against impossible odds. Sometimes it means making the hard call when no one else can. The intelligence she had secured led to the dismantling of 3 major terrorist cells across 2 continents. The commander she captured provided information that prevented attacks that would have claimed thousands of lives. But for Sarah, the true measure of success was simpler. The 282 Navy SEALs who returned home to their families, unaware how close they had come to flying into disaster. In the years that followed, the story of the lieutenant who stood against an army became legend in special forces circles, not for the medals she earned, but for the simple truth she embodied, that sometimes the greatest courage is found not in never kneeling, but in rising again when others try to keep you down.